we've had a lot of discussions over the last few weeks about a lot of different things, and just to highlight a few of them, we heard on the expenditure side, we heard Secretary Rivera talk about pupil transportation, $549 million line item. $200 million of it is from the prior year that we still have to pay out. We also heard from the DHS financial director yesterday where we were talking about the Medicaid assistance long-term care line item, and he had said something about a spring estimate that's coming that will be shocking. Which makes you a little bit nervous when someone says shocking.
Did not make me comfortable.
Yes,
for sure, yes.
None of us really, and there's no increase really on that line item right now to account for whatever shocking thing is going to happen. On the revenue side, minimum wage proposal, the governor's proposal says $133 million of additional revenue. The IFO's estimate was $50 million, which was last year, but they said it would be a similar number this year. We also had a revenue estimate for combined reporting. That revenue secretary estimated at $238 million increased revenue, where last year the exact proposal was going to cost us $7 million. On top of that, we have 25 or so deleted line items with about $25 million that are legislative ads per se that aren't accounted for. So the question is this budget in balance?
Well, as proposed, it is. Certainly things as we move forward can change. We certainly don't anticipate we will get everything that we ask for, and that's part of the, this is the starting point of where we go from here. But to your point, we have several revenue proposals included in the budget, and we also have several initiative proposals that would cost money. So it really depends on, where we land final discussions. We are ahead of estimate right now in revenue, but we do have to be cautious on if that continues. And we did have a gross receipts tax payment that occurred in February that we were projecting in March.
$50 million
so
early
what does that look like for March? You
right.
know, so I think we'll continue to watch that as we do very closely. And as I said, we'll just continue those conversations with the legislature and see where we land to get a balanced budget.
And that's the whole thing, landing the plane. How are we going to land the plane? So do you believe that the DHS line item, as it's presently constituted, is going to be sufficient?
That's the information I have at this time. I think, as most are aware, we provide updates on those specific lines throughout the year. We provided an estimate in October. We received another estimate in December from the department. That's what we use to put into our budget request. We, as mentioned, we will again receive an estimate in the spring. It seems like they're estimates are always off, but what's driving that is people, and we can only estimate how many people will come and what the severity will be. The aging population and those lines associated that, while we have implemented community health choices to try to bend that cost curve, it's not going to happen overnight. Those waivers, aging waiver and home and community-based waiver, I mean, they were growing. The trajectory was like this. We're trying to just get that to go a little bit. And as we, our population continues to age, it's a continued concern, both on the revenue side as less people, are working and are retired, but then as they need more services.
And do you believe that corporations will willingly, knowingly, voluntarily remit corporate taxes under combined reporting 9 months earlier than they have to?
Well, I mean, that's the estimate that revenue presented, and that they certainly know better than I do. But, as I mentioned, we received a GRT payment early, so who knows why they made that early in February versus March. Yeah,
and like you said, we are $250 million ahead, but the $50 million of it is a GRT. But so we still at least are $200 million ahead. Do you believe that the zeroed out line items will be added back?
I think that's generally the case. It's again a conversation with the legislature on their value, and as we prepare a budget, we have to focus on which lines we can fund, and then we have that discussion with the legislature and the ultimate funding.
Have you ever heard the term kabuki dance?
I believe I heard it yesterday. I don't generally use it, but I've heard it.
Me neither, and I actually, realistically, I had to look it up. And I was a little bit nervous when I did, because sometimes you put stuff in a search engine, you don't know what you're going to get.
Who knows what's coming out of there?
But I will say this. I mean, the minority chair has referred to a lot of the actions we've taken as a kabuki dance, and I would like to say that, given the budget that we have in front of us, which is not really totally workable, it's kind of unrealistic where we're at right now, that this truly is the kabuki dance, because what we're stuck with is a situation where to land the plane, as you say, And as we have more involvement in it, to land a plane, what we're going to have to do is to address some of the additional spending that is in this budget, the $1.4 billion additional spending to land the plane, and at that point in time, then it's somehow our fault, and it's a budget cut. Ironically, and I know I'm out of time, but briefly, I did want to say one last thing. When I was looking up kabuki dance and I was doing a search, I also looked up the definition of overspend, because the good chairman has told us repeatedly how disingenuous we were with the term overspend. And the definition for overspend is to spend more than expected or allotted amount, which I think we have been using it correctly. And you can place blame wherever you want to. I voted for the budget, too. I'm not going to be disingenuous. I'll be realistic. I voted for the budget, too. And you could use whatever term you want to explain it, but it is an overspend. And if that's what helps you dance, that's fine. But I do appreciate your time, and it's always good to see you, Secretary.
Thank you.